it now? When do we want it? Now. We want interest free. What do we want? Interest free money. We want it now. 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 Give us our money. Interest free. We want our money. Interest free. We want it now. We want it now. Interest free money. We demand.
Hello.
Hi, Ollie.
Yes.
How are you doing? Thomas back here again. Sorry about that. My editor was tuning my buzz there. Oh my goodness, he's out with a succulent lamb brigade tonight, dining away, giving it Yaldi. Just get my boys told there, so just get my boys told there, Ollie. You know what it's like. Have you got a gaffer above you, mate? Because my gaffer's just a stinking, fucking. What's your gaffer like?
Yeah, mine are alright to be fair. But I've had them before.
Oh my goodness, I just got an ear tune because something I was meant to do earlier on, that I mean, and if one of these people, if he doesn't get it done, then it's just a shouting balling exercise, know what I mean? Well, yes sir, no sir, fucking get off my phone.
Right, where were we? What can I do for you?
Yeah mate, so what I was trying to do was, I'm trying, I mean, a lot of people up here seem to have got it wrong, and you've identified that some of the stuff there, well, the part that I'm stuck at, I mean, I didn't really believe people were saying there's a connection between Ticketus, I mean, like you've said there, you've done it, there's nothing that can be proved, so I think by trying to chase that, we're just wasting ourselves time. The point that I'm moving on to is the fact that where we are with old Craigie White, where it's going with him, because where's their blame to be apportioned, because many in the trade up here are putting it all on Craigie Boy Whites, whereas I think that most of it should be from Mr. Murray, and from what you said earlier on with Mr. Murray recommending, I mean, is there anything that you've got on Mr. Murray that you can share off the record, Ollie, that
No, not really. I mean, the obvious point is the one that's already out there, which was he ran up the debt, which never got paid off. It got passed on various guises, and it became a Ticketus deal instead of a debt to a bank. But the point is, the club ran itself into an unstable period under David Murray.
But you see, when Ticketus step in and do a deal with Craig White,
mm-hmm.
the investors who are Ticketus, no one knows who they are. David Murray doesn't know who they are, so they're anonymous investors. That part I'm correct on, yeah?
As far as I know, yes. As far as I know, that would be the case, yeah.
Because for all intents and purposes, what it could be David Murray, another branch of his company, taking over that other end, because what he did when he did a share issue back 10 years ago, he asked the fans for 50 million, he got $1 million, and then he did with some voodoo economics, he took some money from one part of his company, transferred it through, and then began slicing and dicing the beast that was Rangers. So all the finance from the stores, from the merchandise, from the pies, and everything was sliced off to pay back the debt that he took away from his other companies. So it's not beyond the wit of man that Mr. Murray could be these other investors or other companies that he has got. You see what I'm saying here? That he could be all of, instead of people saying, because we don't
how you take that, no, and I think if I was you, I wouldn't know what to do next and how to get to that, which is one for you.
No,
for me.
No, well, I mean, I'm not putting, I'm not suggesting that is the case, right? One way or the other. I mean, it could be, it's far-fetched, but this is the problem. What I'm suggesting, or what I'm saying is, the problem we've got is, because it's anonymous investors in Ticketus, right, that we don't know who the heck it is. So for all intents and purposes, it could be Mr. Murray. But and this is the problem, how we're ever going to get to it, because now the problem is now passed on to another person, so just substitute Mr. Murray for Mr. Green, And now Mr. Green is doing deals with people who we don't know or who they are and what the terms and conditions are. And we'd only find things out later on down the line. We didn't find out all the stuff with Ticketus at the time. If you're aware back then, Ollie, there was a lot of information that nobody found out until 6 months down the line after Craig White had done the deal with yourselves or Ticketus, whoever it is. I mean, I've lost track. You're Luther Pendragon working as a PR, working alongside Ticketus, who are part of the investing group that is Octopus. But at every level, the Octopus, it doesn't own Ticketus, but it does own it the way you try to explain it. But So the problem that we're getting to is, well, who's these anonymous people? Because the problem is, as I say, the problem is now manifesting itself now with Mr. Green. Mr. Green has got all these anonymous investors and they're wanting to pull the plug. It's the biggest mess you've ever seen. And what from, I don't know if you want to take it.
There's a more fundamental question, which is why would people want to lose money in Rangers and then put more money into Rangers, where they've lost money in Rangers as a top European football team, playing in the Scottish Premier League, winning trophies, playing in Europe? Why do they think they're going to get their money back by investing in a Scottish third division team with a transfer ban? Why do they think in the next 10 years they're going to make any money back from it? So the lack of logic to me is, why would someone who'd already lost money send more good money after bad? Because I don't think there's immediate money to be made out of Rangers Football Club in any time in the near future.
But then, well,
we looked at every way. We looked at every way you could try and make money out of Rangers Football Club. There isn't, right? Which is why no one at Ticketus had any interest in going forward with buying that club. So I don't know why any individual investors think they can make money by.
You don't mind me asking.
Fortune on them.
You don't mind me asking what way you said? Yeah, you looked at every way. You say you looked at every way. How do you mean? How many people, or what did you do to look at it?
When we Ticketus have been very open that we entered a consortium with the Blue Knights to look at buying Rangers Football Club. So at that point, obviously, we looked at what return would we get from Rangers Football Club. And the only thing you could assume was massive running costs, huge operational costs, cost of even keeping up the training ground, of maintaining Ibrox, of putting on football matches, and where was any profit going to be made, given the club couldn't make any profit when it was playing bigger football matches and playing in Europe, right? You can't sell off Ibrox, absolutely politically untenable. Neither us or the Blue Knights were even going to talk about selling the ground off. The training ground's not worth anything, because if Rangers Football Club aren't using that training ground, who's the tenant ever going to be? Who needs a five-star world-class facility in Glasgow? Celtic aren't going to use it. So there is no money to be made. So I don't see.
Hold on. You could take that training ground and sell it off and make huge amounts of money for flats or something or the other.
You couldn't. But why would you need to buy that from Rangers? There's enough land out on the outskirts of Glasgow that's currently fields where you could build flats without having to buy a world-class, a really, really top-class training facility to do that. You'd be spending money on equipment, on AstroTurf, on showers and baths to knock it down to build flats. Why wouldn't you build a bit of land next door to it that didn't have any buildings on it already? So that would, it's only worth it as a piece of land if you're renting it to Rangers Football Club.
So you're saying then that everything was looked at, and with the cost there, and was this over a period of time? I mean, it wasn't rushed through. You looked at every kind of manoeuvre, and there was nothing to be gained out of it.
We're talking over months, not years. We're talking from when Rangers went into trouble until we pulled out of working with the Blue Knights. There was no way. And by the way, that was before there was a transfer embargo and before we knew Rangers were going to be in Division 3. So things only got worse after we stopped looking at having the involvement in the future ownership of Rangers. So I do not see why.
At that point, was it discussions was it mooted that the plan was to keep Rangers in the top flight? Was that mooted that there was stuff?
We We didn't know, and that was one of the uncertainties. And Rangers not being in the top flight, but we knew that there was likely to be a 3-year ban in Europe, and that was bad enough. That already made the figures horrendous. We definitely were not on stage yet where we knew anything about being in the 4th tier of Scottish football, and we didn't know about a transfer ban. So,
but hold on, can you say there? You say there.
Charles Green's.
You said there, nobody did anybody mention to you the possibility of being in the 4th tier, or was it told that you were going to be in the top flight uncategorically? Was it categorically?
No, there was no assurances either way. It was an open-ended, it was just an uncertainty where there was no one knew what was going to happen. Obviously, everyone knew that all these were uncertainties and unknowns. But you've got to remember, when this happened, there was no clarity.
Yeah, because it hadn't been liquidated.
What would happen?
Yeah, because it hadn't been liquidated. That's what was June. So this was prior to the Blue Knights walking away. So this was round about just late April, May. Would that be correct?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And did you look at?
My personal view is that if I was someone who invested in Tictus and lost money, the last thing I would do is invest more money in Rangers to try and make that money back. I'd put it in something else.
And
what was my view?
What was the deal that Mr. Paul Murray came to you from the Blue Knights? Were they saying that you were going to get a share of the club, or was that the deal that you were taking on board? Because obviously our view, and I came into this with a football supporter trust hat on, with all the things I do at Manchester United. My view was that Tictus did not want to own Rangers Football Club. What they wanted to do was protect the contract they had for tickets, and they had an interest in going into a partnership by backing a consortium who would essentially take the heat off Tictus in terms of the fans, because Paul Murray is popular. And in return, all Tictus wanted was to keep some of, and they were prepared to write off some money, but was to keep some of the ticket contract that they previously had, i.e. they wouldn't lose 27 million. In return, they would help finance the Blue Knights, who needed cash, because I don't think they necessarily had as much cash as people believed, or as much spare cash that they were prepared to pay out their own pockets. So they would help finance the populist Blue Knight bid in return for some longer secure guarantees, one of which probably was going to be something like the training ground. They were going to secure that? Sorry, what was that? Sorry, can you explain that? What do you mean there? They were going to secure... They were going to use that as a leverage.
If you look at, basically, there's two separate deals. If the club had massive running costs, I mean, we are talking huge. You look at the number of staff employed by Rangers Football Club, or at the time it went into administration, versus what an equivalent sized football club spends in staff. It was crazy how much money was spent on that club and what the wage bill was. So anyone coming in...
Ollie, hold on, Ollie. Stay there, Ollie. Hold on, it's because I've got interference. I'm 2 seconds. Can you hear me okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say I was phoning you back, mate, because I was getting interference on. Yeah, sorry, crack on you go, sorry.
No,
hold on. Oh, sugar. I knew it was going to happen. Yeah, let me get back on quick.
Hello?
Ollie, sorry about that, mate. Sorry, I was...
No, that's a better line. Look, the point of it was, where we were talking about, if Tictus ended up having some involvement in the future of owning Rangers, they didn't want it. They just want to protect their ticket money. They don't want to make decisions about who runs Rangers, who owns Rangers, how much tickets got. They didn't want to do any of that. So any involvement that they had with the Blue Knights, the idea was after a year they were just going to give any shares they might have got to the fans. They were literally just going to go, Supporters Trust, have our shares. They had no interest in owning shares in Rangers Football Club. So the idea was it would be a mutual exit plan. They would protect their ticket money for the duration of the existing contract, and then they'd give the shares away and walk. And that was the plan.
So they would have, you'd have got. You said there you would have reduced the money. So just to clarify it, because in different places I've been told different figures. So straight from the horse's mouth, you can nail it down here, Ollie, with me. What was the figure paid out? Was it paid in 2 instalments to Mr. White? Was it, how much was paid? Because there were stories I heard you paid so much and then they had to get another lot. What was the deal with that?
No, there was a 3-year deal. You know, everyone now knows it was approximately £27 million, and that it was going. I'm trying to think. That was what it was. The money, where you see, there's these rumours which are not true. That, you know, you would have heard this. Ticketus financed Craig White, but they didn't. Ticketus have to buy football tickets. They can only buy football tickets from someone that owns the tickets, i.e. the football club. So no deal was done with Craig until he owned Rangers. However, there was a deal in principle agreed that when Craig owned Rangers, that deal would be entered into. So, which is why people talk about the deal being done before Craig owned Rangers.
So let me see this again then, sorry. Repeat that again, because... So Craig, there was no deal... Sorry, just repeat that again, sorry, so instead of me messing up there in my head. I heard it there, but I just...
When the whole Ticketus story broke, the way in which it was played out in much of the media was that Ticketus financed Craig's takeover, right? That was the way in which a lot of it was written. Now, Ticketus did not finance Craig's takeover in terms of Ticketus could only give money to Craig after he already owned the club. He also only bought the club for £1 million and for £1, and you know he didn't need external financing to find £1. So one of the things we've been keen to clear up is that Craig bought the club and then a deal was done with Ticketus, because Ticketus can only buy tickets from a football club, and therefore they couldn't do a deal with Craig until he owned those tickets.
Doing the share. Well, that's an easy, straightforward deal. An owner says, well, look, I've got a new buyer here, an owner who Ticketus had done dealings with before, and an owner who had recommended that, Craig goes that way. So the deal was sitting ready to go, ready waiting in the wings. So for David Murray to offer it over nominally for the £1, because the $6 million that David Murray took over came from his good old friends in the Bank of Scotland anyway. So he was making a 100% profit on the £1 deal, because he got it for free anyway, because all the debt was leveraged into a big woody economic pile of dust, and still to be figured out between the Bank of Scotland, the Lloyds Bank, and old David Murray himself. But the pound deal that was done with Mr. White, that was sitting there waiting to go, as you said there, Ollie, that's fascinating, because the deal with previously with Mr. Murray for the season tickets, how many tickets did you do a deal with previously with Mr. Murray, and how many was it? You told me there the amount of money, but how many season tickets had you promised to give to Mr. White, first of all?
I don't know the answer to that. I've probably got it somewhere, but because I've not really had this conversation for months, I'm a bit rusty on the figures.
No, it's okay, Ollie, no, because I was just... because there was
one of the things that... Go on.
No, because there were so many figures put out as well, but even with what you've said, I mean, that in itself seems like a sting in itself, you know? That is a beautiful setup, how an owner of a distressed company with 50 million, or whatever it was, it ended up at the outset being owed, but had a tax bill sitting there waiting in the wings, but he recommends a company who he's used previously to come in and finance it. Although it's not...
I understand the logic, which is that you've got all this debt that needs to be paid to Lloyds Bank, and if you don't pay that debt back, they're going to take your football club away from you. So whoever David Murray sold the club to had to have a plan for how you don't end up having to hand the club over to the bank. And in the real world,
is Ticketus happy that with
financing?
Is Ticketus happy with how it's happened? Because I mean, not being a legal mind or an expert, I know BDO, but BDO's hands are all over it. Are you happy with the fact that you might be exposed to criminal charges or something like that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just surmising. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen to yourself.
I don't think we're exposed to anything. I think we're
apart from a 27 million loss,
and helping people. If you watch back, the big BBC documentaries, probably going back 3 or 4 months now.
Yeah.
And you look at, for example, fake forged invoices being given to Ticketus rather than made by Ticketus. I think there is a bigger case that we're a victim than being exposed to charges ourselves. So, and obviously, we're not in a position where we can kind of stir this one up, because on strong legal advice, we're just staying completely out of things which are currently under investigation. So I'm not talking about BDO, I'm not talking about police charges or anything like that, because they're ongoing police matters. But, to be honest, we're not exposed to anything. We're completely in the clear for anything criminal. I don't think there's any allegations against us.
No, of course. I mean, for any good organisation, it's a cover your backside thing. But then, look, Chris Hume, the Liberal MP, he thought he'd backside covered, and now he's looking at doing some time in the pokey. So there's always...
Hang on. There's a big difference there, which is Chris Hume committed criminal acts and tried to lie about them, where else we're in a position where we entered into a legal and above board agreement. Lying at that point. That's their criminal charge to face.
If you look at the system, you're only a criminal if you get caught, and who's to say that something... Because with what you've explained there, Ollie, how the deal was set up in place, how it was recommended by Mr. Murray that Mr. White go along this, and although the deal was waiting in place until Mr. White took that over. Now, between the three parties, Ticketus, Mr. White and Mr. Murray, this is a sting operation if I've ever seen one in my life, where Mr. Murray's passing over the debt, and your company, I might be suggesting your company might have been been stung by it, and maybe you should be pressing charges or criminal charges against it. Well, is that what you're doing? Are you pressing charges against Mr. White or Mr. Murray? Or are you seeking to get damage against either or both?
We are pursuing Craig White. We can't. Technically, it's not suing, because he voluntarily entered into an agreement whereby any losses suffered by Ticketus he would be responsible for. So it's not suing, it is asking him for the money he owes us, but that needs to be done through a court process, because, as you might imagine, he's not being too quick to hand it over.
And was there any securities?
Although the word suing is wrong, we are pursuing Craig White for the personal and corporate guarantees that he gave Ticketus.
Yeah, because Mr. White, in my dealings with him, he comes across, I don't know how people perceive him, but I think he's a very clever individual. He's very astute and clever. He would have covered these bases, and he would have covered himself all over the place to protect himself, and it's corporate law we're dealing with. So it's not like criminal law. There's no criminal charges happening really just now until the police walk in, but it's very hard to secure a criminal...
There's plenty of criminal cases going on relating to this. If you look at the role of Duff and Phelps, which is under investigation, if you look at Gary Withy's role as company secretary at Rangers, that's under investigation by the police. There are criminal charges and investigations going on. Nothing to do with Ticketus, but there are charges going on relating to Rangers.
But someone goes in with a gun and jumps over a counter and steals £1,000, he'll get 10 years. Someone who bleeds the country dry for billions, right? What happens? A title gets stripped. It doesn't get called Sir anymore. Sir Fred Goodwin I'm talking about. Or, the corporate manslaughter. How many directors of British companies have went in the dock and faced charges and went into jail for deaths in their company? Damn few, if any at all, have suffered. Look at what happens when the corporate manslaughter. It's very hard to bring. So there's so much rules and regulations that the companies have set up, or the capitalist system anyway in this country. The way it's set up, it's very hard to bring criminal charges and make it stick. So, even if any of these individuals are named and shamed and jailed, the length of time they're going to do in jail or anything is months, if not years, and they'll be in an open jail, and they'll be on a tag within about 6 months of going in there. So, there's not going to be any proper punishment in the way of the criminal system. But I'm trying to get to the bottom of who's pulling off the sting, who's been stung, from where I'm sitting now, Ollie, your company's the one that's been stung to the tune of 27 million, and I'm trying to give you as much help as I can. Or how can we get this money back to you? Because you're chasing Mr. White, but don't you think you should be better charging Mr. Murray or chasing him for recommending you do?
No, because we have no. I mean, Craig White, who we had the agreement with that went wrong, so you go after him. You don't go after someone you had a previously successful arrangement with, which concluded with no repercussion whatsoever. Ticketus, Rangers Football Club has problems because of David Murray's legacy. Ticketus don't. That's a very separate issue. Listen, I'm gonna wrap this up now because we're going to go round in circles. If you've got any follow-up questions that directly relate to Ticketus, please feel free to maybe pop them in an email over to me, and I'll make sure we get you some responses.
No, listen, Ollie, you've been so helpful and kind. I'm sorry for going over and re-over again. The point I was trying to get and gain from yourself is that the fact that there's more rumours coming out tonight, Ollie, regards what is happening with Mr. Green. So, and the same scenario looks likely to be happening again with what happened with Mr. Murray. So, no, and the reason why I was going back over those old stuff was because of the stuff that was mentioned in the media and the figures regarding, the 27 million. So you're chasing up, just a confirmation, and then you're chasing up Mr. White vis-a-vis the 27 million. And if you want the technical, we're pursuing Craig White for the personal and the corporate guarantees that were given, but when Ticketus and Rangers, under the ownership of Craig White, entered into the contract, which is now a pretty notorious contract. Well, you're damn tooting, mate, because the way it was set up, the way it was sitting on the sidelines waiting to go, it absolutely stinks, mate, and that's why I wasn't trying to insinuate anything for yourself. I don't think that's some kind of terrible thing in the way that you're positioning it. I think Craig White knows he's buying a football club. He knows that there's all this debt that the banks are banging on the door for, and he's going, right, I'm not going to buy a football club and then worry about it. I clearly need to have a plan in place for financing and getting Lloyds off my back. So I think it all made sense at the time. Of course, hindsight's a wonderful thing with the tax cases and various other things that have got nothing to do with Ticketus that later emerged. But I think if I was Craig White and I'd have wanted to make Rangers work, I would have said, right, if I enter into this deal with Ticketus, I get Lloyds Bank off my back, which is the most important thing I need to do to keep this club going. However, what it then does is it takes a lot of my revenues that are going to come in from ticket money and they're diverted elsewhere. They go back to Ticketus. So what I need to do is increase other commercial revenues. So if you start to now look back at what Rangers' commercial deals were, what their sponsorship deals were, what the catering vans were paying, and you start to compare that to other football clubs, and then you look at the wage bill, basically the money in was shit and the money out was really high, and that's a ticking time bomb. And he had a year to sort that out, and he never sorted it out. And I would say that is the failure that didn't allow the club to sustain just keeping on going. Now, the reason why I'm saying this thing that's happened to you, right, and it's a bigger picture than what we've explained so far, right? The sting where £50 million disappears to the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and even the face painter and Hector from the HMRC. But a recently deceased director, Hugh Adam, who sadly just died, he stated 10 years ago what you just stated there, that the money coming in and the money going out wasn't adding up and it was a ticking time bomb, and this was 10 months previously. So the point that I've been trying to get at and ascertain in this call with your good self, Ollie, is that this sting operation has been set up and orchestrated by a person called David Murray, and that many puppets have entered the fray and many people have come into it, but still the ongoing party who seems to be like the Teflon Don, the Don Curly Willie of Scottish football and Scottish society, is Mr. David Murray, where nothing can stick, where you don't chase him for the money because of a legal technicality, which is fine and it's good, and it's all passed to Mr. White, and Mr. White's even got a little place in Puerto Rico, where guess what, there's no extradition treaty with Great Britain, so he can disappear there if it really gets too hot for him. So there's every base has been covered. It's a cover your backside operation on all sides, Ollie. From the way I'm looking at it here, the point I'm trying to find out is how a football club can, over a period of so many years, cheat and outmaneuver its rivals in a field of, it was supposed to be a level playing field, and how it could not pay its taxes, and how the whole thing can end up in the same way and still be self-perpetuating itself, because, again, change over Mr. Murray to Mr. Green, change over Ticketus for Far East investors, and change over liquidation in 2012 for liquidation 2013. People are losing money. People are being bumped. The ordinary person, you say, talking for fans, the ordinary fans who invested in Mr. Murray's debenture for the extension, 7 million or 8 million disappeared also with that. Someone is really at it. A sting operation has happened, and it all adds up to Mr. Murray being the main protagonist. You've admitted to me just now, earlier on, that he recommended Mr. White go along with this, and obviously he's covered these bases.
No, I think you're slightly putting words in my mouth.
You did say he recommended it.
Recommended that he goes along with the sting. I think it's fair to say that there was a previous deal with Ticketus that had been successful for all parties, and it made natural sense for a future owner to look at that as well, rather than David Murray going into.
But not to that level. Hold on. Your company was going into a new agreement with somebody new who hadn't took control of that club, who had massive external debts with a tax liability. The elephant was already sitting in the room. You knew that was all there, but when you went into a 27...
Yeah, but that's Ticketus' job to protect themselves. That's not Craig White's job or David Murray's job.
So then, to protect yourself, then, did you look at it?
Look at what ticket sales are like at Rangers Football Club, what the price of the ticket are, do the games sell out every week?
Including liquidation?
Carry on.
Did you see you looked at it? So did you look ahead to liquidation? Was that before you gave the 27 million? Because you looked there and you told us clearly the fact that, there was no way for months you could look at it. There was no possible way of making money out of it. So surely you must have done your homework in the exact same way before you went into that deal.
There's a huge difference, but there's a massive difference. Ticketus, first of all, there are two major protections written into the contract. The first protection were the corporate and personal guarantees, i.e., if Ticketus lost any money, they can go after Craig White for that money. The second protection was intellectual property law, that if a company called Rangers Football Club, doesn't matter if it was after a liquidation, played in blue, had a name similar to Rangers, and played in a stadium that was called Ibrox or was similar to Ibrox, then Ticketus owned the tickets. It made no difference to Ticketus whatsoever under the contract signed
whether it was liquidated
whether
or not.
Rangers were liquidated or not. But then a massive change. The liquidation of Rangers was under Scottish administration law, not UK law, and that meant that the licensing law on the tickets was totally changed. So we went through a court process to find out whether we still own tickets in the new Rangers. We didn't. That was where Ticketus got fucked. Because that is where the protections that we had went out the window. When we signed the contract, it made no difference if Rangers had been liquidated. Clearly, it would have been a massive hassle.
Was that at the point when it was liquidated in Sevco 5088, which was registered in Scotland, or was it registered in England? And then 5088, was that Scottish registered Sevco? When was the point when you get fucked? Was it the liquidation point?
No, the Scottish administration. The administration of Rangers was appointed under Scottish administration law and went through Scottish courts. And at that point, the licensing law for intellectual property is different in Scotland and England. And at that point, there were questions over whether our tickets would be valid in a new club or not. They weren't. £27 million gone.
Hold on, it was a Scottish company. Surely you knew it was going to be liquidated in Scotland? Surely you weren't that incompetent or stupid to not realise that if it goes into liquidation, it's going to be liquidated in Scotland and we lose all our money?
In which case, you still had the protection of the corporate and personal guarantees of Craig White.
This is a set-up. I smell a rat. There's a rat here, Ollie. There is a rat here. I smell a filthy rat, and Ticketus here, by the way. Yous are updating your knees. There's a rat here, mate, and there's a big rat here, mate. Come clean. Be a whistleblower. I'll help you out, mate. I can get friends. I've got friends here.
But you're living in this kind of mad conspiracy world where you've come up with a whole thing of what happened that didn't happen, persuaded yourself it's true. I'm being really open with you about everything that happened. When you enter into any transaction that makes millions and millions and millions of pounds, there is always a risk. You don't not ever enter into a deal.
You've just admitted a small error that even I've got a 12-year-old kid who's specialising in maths now who could work out that, hold on, if a company gets liquidated, you can't sit there and say, oh, we're safe and protected because we've got intellectual property and it's a British law, but hold on, it's a Scottish company, and oh, dearie me, they went to a Scottish court and get liquidised, oh, we've lost our money. Come on, behave yourself. This is a sting part. Who's the investor in Ticket Scum Clean? Who is it?
You're not actually listening. You're not listening.
Of course I'm listening, Ollie.
You pick 1 in 20 sentences that I say, and you don't listen to the other 19. When you
listen to every single word, Ollie.
Listen, I deal with these sorts of deals all the time. There is no magic bullet that says, I'm going to take £1 million and turn it into 10 million and there's no risk. It's guaranteed. Because if anyone was to ever say that to you, they'd be a con man. So in any deal you sign with any football club, with any bank, with any business, there's a degree of risk. So the two risks, the one risk in this situation is Rangers goes belly up. So what do? You mitigate for that through two things, so that there is not 100% chance that if a football club goes belly up, you lose all your money. You have the personal and the corporate guarantees, and you try and write your intellectual property law into the contract. It is not what you've now decided I've said, which is not what I've said, that you couldn't believe for 1 second that an administration of a Scottish company would be Scottish law and you would definitely lose that money. It's the fact that there is always going to be some risk. You go into a deal knowing there is a degree of risk. You know about the Lloyds debt. You know that the wage bill's high.
The tax bill.
You know that there's a change of ownership.
Tax bill of estimated 50 million. 50 million tax bill still sitting there.
Do you think that most Scottish football fans thought Rangers would be liquidated?
Yeah.
Because the point is, most people did not believe Rangers would be liquidated.
No, the point is, right, if Craig White had paid his tax PAYE, then the inspectorate maybe have cut him a deal. But the fact that they openly and brazenly said, we're not paying it, we're not paying PAYE for employees, and we're not paying the small tax bill that he'd agreed to pay with David Murray in a gentleman's agreement as well that he didn't pay, then that left open the taxman to state that they never, ever, ever do a deal with someone who's entered into willful non-payment of doing it. So it was always going to be a case. There's another thing there, that it was always going to happen because people have played it by the book, because people who are in business, like you've said, you're an expert, you've done all these deals, so you know every intricate loophole and dodge and manoeuvre that can be done, Ollie. And fair play to you and all the rest of the capitalist system and the rest of the masters of the universe who can work out how to manipulate every loophole or every little Jersey or Bahamas tax dodge or whatever. Fair play to you. That's the way the capitalist system is. That's how 50 million can...
I think you totally missed the point.
You're missing the point,
Ollie. Look at this through your own political anti-capitalist agenda, using phrases such as masters of the universe, and you want to create a whole world that you've decided exists. That's up to you. I would strongly suggest that just completely loses you any credibility and loses you all perspective in this. Talking about masters of the universe.
Just one phrase I gave. Hold on. No, one small phrase I used there, masters of the universe, because what I suggested to you is that the capitalist system that you work for, the many deals that you've done, right? There's many loopholes, right? And I worked in many fields before I became a journalist, right? And yes, if there's a financial gain to be there, and if the government if the government allows a tax loophole to exist, then of course the company is going to exploit it. If a company if there's a loophole that a company can liquidate itself and it can release itself from its debts to everybody under the sun and the taxman, then it's not just Rangers that are doing it. Everybody's doing it. It's big business. It's huge business. And Understand that, Ollie? But I'm not. Please don't think for 1 minute I threw that Master of the Universe phrase at you. I knew it was a cheap shot, but I wasn't aiming at you. I'm just aiming at the fact that you work in the system where all these loopholes exist, and all the top businessmen are exploiting them. So Mr. Murray is no different from Mr. White, and the investors of Ticketus and Octopus, they're no different, because they're investing their $500,000 or $1 million or 5 million. How many people you've got invested or whatever? They're wealthy, high net worth individuals. So they're looking for protection from their money. So their $1 million or 2 million they hand over to yourself. They're looking at that as a way of reducing their tax bill that they were paying on the 50 million they had. So I understand that. So the money, so this loss that happened here just now between Mr. Murray and his friends, fine, wash it dry, let it go. It's only 50 million, The tax man, it's okay. There's no roads to be repaired. There's nothing wrong with the country to be fixed. So just, he doesn't need to get paid his 20 million, but it's okay. Little pensioners can suffer, and, and people have to go under this austerity measures, but it's okay as long as people who are high net worth individuals don't end up in the criminal courts and are brought to justice, then it's cool. Let the status quo change. Well, no, sorry, I'm a campaigning journalist, Ollie, right, and I want change to happen, not just for me, right, or the little granny that I've spoken about, but for you as well, for better, because do you not agree, Ollie, that this system is collapsing as we speak? Can you not see it? Are you so blind that you're sitting there in your ivory turret that you can't see that this country is falling apart at the seams, my friend?
I think to make massive statements like a country is falling apart at the seams, when you look at what's going on the streets of other countries with less financial protection, I wouldn't like to be in Spain or in Greece or in many other places right now who have less financial protection. I think clearly,
everything's relative, Ollie. Everything's relative. I'm talking about this country, right? I'm saying how it's falling apart at the seams when people can't afford to put heating on, when it's minus freezing conditions. Pensioners, right, who are dying tonight because they can't afford to put heating. People who can't afford to feed themselves, right? This is in this country, Britain. But it's okay because wealthy capitalists can operate loopholes in the system that is set up there for them, liquidise a company, don't pay your bills, it's okay, somebody else will pay it. So that's the whole point I'm trying to get at from yourself, Ollie. And even at the start when I was mentioning all these people, we don't know who these net worth individuals are. We're never going to find out who they are. All I'm attempting to say, yes, to yourself and find to get to the bottom is that this scam by these people, surely to goodness you can see that they're committing it, and surely to goodness you can see that there's an injustice happening here, Ollie. Is that something to narrow down?
But then, with the Ticketus hat on, I'm clearly not going to start having a conversation about, the system of capitalist finance.
Oh, we're good friends now, Ollie. We've been on here for about an hour. Never mind Ticketus and all that. We're pals now. We're all pals. Just chew the cud, mate. Tell us what you think of it. The capitalist system's fucked, and you know it.
Listen, I work for people ranging from Ticketus through to brain cancer charities who are having their funding slashed from government, okay? So not everything I do is corporate or capitalist. I work for a lot of charities, work for a lot of public sector bodies. I work for lots of people having their funding slashed. I would never vote Tory as long as I live. I can give you all that as background. Do I think it means everything is as terrible as the picture you're portraying? No. Do I think that the what's happened at Rangers? No. Do I think we've lost a lot of money? Yes. Do I think we'll get it back from Craig White? Eventually, yes, but it could take 5 years. That's where we are.
Well, until you or someone tells us who these investors are, I'm not going to start crying my eyes out that they've lost any way, shape or money. In fact, it's a whole... because...
But listen, no one should have, not you, not any Rangers fan, no one should have any sympathy for Ticketus. They entered into a financial agreement with risk. The deal, the point of financial deals is that when they work, you make lots of money. When they go wrong, you lose lots of money. That's the game. Of course, no one should waste any sympathy or tears for Ticketus whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's not the issue.
But the thing was Mr.
We're not running. Listen, we're not running to the press going, it's unfair, it's unfair, it's unfair. No. We're going, we lost money.
No, but the whole point.
That's what happened.
No, the whole point. And I got to earlier on with Mr. Murray. what many people think what he's done, he couldn't be seen to have his hands sullied by an institution like Rangers being liquidated on his watch, a Knight of the Realm.
Absolutely.
Oh, so he passed it over for £1, and this is why I'm calling you, Ollie, because it all stinks to high heaven. Yeah, this is why I'm come to yourself, because this is why I'm trying to join the dots, because this all stinks and it all emanates from through in Corstorphine in Edinburgh. The stench of it, how him and his cabal of bankers, how they've ruined in Scotland anyway. I'm talking about. I mean, you're down there in England, Ollie, but up here in Scotland, I mean, we're a desolate waste ground, and yet these people can mess about with billions. I mean, they give him $1 billion to mess about and do what he wants. And everything's cool, but then the ordinary people have to sit here and suffer in austerity measures for decades, we're told, and pensioners have to suffer. The cost of food is rising, the cost of potatoes, everything's going through the roof. And yet, it's alright, forget about the $1 billion that Mr. Murray borrowed from the bank and we don't know where it's disappeared to. But this is something we can't move on for. And until, unless you come out and say it's Mr. Joe Schmo who took the hit on Ticketus, there's going to be people out there saying it's no Mr. Joe Schmo, it's Mr. Murray who's part of Ticketus, or it's Mr. Green, or it's Mr. Ollie who's part of Ticketus, who's so far I think it's Mr. Murray who set the whole thing up, Ollie, right? And I think that Ticketus, from what my guess is, you're saying you're not part of it, I'm saying yous are caught up in it, and I think yous are part of it, mate, with Mr. White, with Mr. Green, with Duff and Phelps. The whole thing's all tied in, my friend. And like you say, it's just a crackpot conspiracy theory. Hammer me to the wall and nail me to the wall. That's fine. I'm happy to go along with that. It's not me that's lost the money, but it's general society's lost the money. So I have lost to a degree, because my tax bill and everything's going through the roof. And shysters and suits can say, hey, it's not us, it's the next person. I'm not saying you're a shyster in a suit. I'm saying Mr. Murray. To get it correct there, Ollie. Just in case he's not, he's just called me a shyster in a suit. I wasn't you. I'm talking about these other bigger shysters in the suit.
We could go, listen, it is fascinating. In theory, I would enjoy talking to you for ages, but I'm getting very dirty looks from my other half who's fed up with me shouting in the lounge.
Well, put her on then, I'll talk to her. Put her on, get her on. She wants to talk to Tommy Boy, get her on.
I'll tell you what,
get her on the line.
She's a Glaswegian.
You're kidding me on. Get her on right away. We want to talk to her. Get her on, prove it. Get her on, prove it. Tell her Tommy Boy wants a chat.
Not going to happen. Listen, let's leave it there. Thanks very much. I hope it was interest as background. Good luck with whatever you do. Feel free to send me anything you like.
Okay, Ollie. Listen, you take care. Have a good night, right?
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right. I'll let him get back to his Swedish wife, girlfriend, his other half. There we go. I was going to close the show up here, but I'm going to have to scroll through some of your messages before I do it. So what we'll do is we'll take a little break.
We demand it. We want to know. When do you want it to know? Money. Interest-free money. We demand it. We want it. We want to know. When do we want it? Now. We want interest-free. What do we want? Interest-free money. We want it now. 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 Give us your money. Interest-free. We want our money. Interest free. Interest free. Interest free. Interest free.
Right, thank you very much. Right, thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you very much. I had to take a wee break earlier on there. The first part of the show, I had to go and pick my Wayne up. She was away out to the cinema with her pals and she was going to end up restoring her range, so I had to cut it short and go and grab her. And I said to the Waynes I'd be back to make sure they're in bed and all that, but I just overstayed my chat there with the Bulging. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you all soon. So that's a thank you very much, and big shout out to the brother who passed it over to me, Keith Jackson. Thank you, Keith Jackson. Yes, the undercover Keith Jackson was the other reporter. My good friend. Can I give your name out? I've not got the stuff here. Can I give you the name? Well, it'll be disclosed at another time anyway. I've not got his permission to say his name because I've not got it here. I can't see it unless I go into the Twitter. Hold on. But anyway, a good brother passed on. A good brother was undercover, Keith Jackson, so that sting was set up. Yeah, a sting was set up by a good brother, so thank you very much for the brother who helped set that up. The couple of brothers as well, so thank you. Right, so this is right, so hold on, I'm just checking my Twitter here. Right, let's take it away. There we go. It's not this. Right, where are we? Oh, it's just gone. It's all gone crazy here. Right, I'm going through it. Right, oh, here, I'll just end it. I'll need to read it all, right. Thank you very much. Yeah, so the brother who did it, Hare Krishna. Good night, God bless. Increase the peace, fight the power. Don't believe the hype, seek the truth, reject falsehood, for falsehood is always vanishing. As they say. And, let's see, right, time to finish up then. I better go and make sure the Waynes are in bed here. Fecking pan the minimum. Right. Yeah, good night. God bless everybody. Just check the last message. I'm waiting to check all the message. Right, I might come back later on. I need to go and sort the family shit out now, so do my family shit. I need to go and get a munch as well, so maybe do a wee show. Maybe do a wee phone in later on, right? So if you're up and about after 0 dark 30 hour, as these Yankee Doodle half-wits called it. Yeah, if you're about after 0 dark 55 hours or something, I might do a wee show, God willing. Right, speak to you soon. Hail, hail.
Have a look at Halliburton. 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 Have a look at Halliburton and the other American corporations that stole not only Iraq's money, but the money of the American taxpayer. The money of the American taxpayer. Have a look at the oil that you didn't even meter, that you were shipping out of the country and selling, the proceeds of which went who knows where, who knows where. Have a look at the $800 million you gave to American military commanders to hand out around the country without even counting it or weighing it. Have a look at the real scandal breaking in the newspapers today, revealed in the earlier testimony in this committee, that the biggest sanctions busters were not me or Russian politicians or French politicians. The real sanctions busters were your own companies with the connivance of your own government. Have a look at Halliburton. Have a look at Halliburton. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that Iraq had no connection to the atrocity on 9/11. Senator, in everything I said about Iraq, I turned out to be right and you turned out to be wrong. and 100,000 people are paid with their lives. 1,600 of them American soldiers sent to their deaths on a pack of lies. Pack of lies. Pack of lies. Pack of lies. Pack of lies.
Right. Mr. Murray, we love you, Mr. Murray. Mr. Sir David Minty Boz, King Juper, we love you, Mr. Murray. Thank you very much. I mean, we're all sitting here as Celtic fans giving Mr. White all the credit for killing that club. But Mr. Murray, we salute your courage. Nah, and we don't really. We don't salute nothing about you, you fucking crackpot bastard, you. Yeah, I might be a crackpot, but not as big as you. Come ahead, you fucking bastards. Loyalists, fucking Sevco Rangers fans, where's your fucking death threats? Where's your fucking threats? Don't come and threaten. You couldn't find your way to your arse with a bit of toilet paper, you fucking shitebags. Hey, I'm a journalist. The ragtops, the promised martyrs, 72 virgins. Come ahead, you loyalist fuckwits. Anyway, sorry for that language. Sorry for that. Bring it right on. I've nothing to fear. I've nothing to hide. In my arse. Don't have to cover anything up. I'm clean as a whistle. I ain't a voodoo economic bastard. I ain't defrauded the country. I'm a campaigning would-be crackpot journalist out trying to expose the fraud of the capitalist system. We're all going to die sometime. We're all being poisoned by the genetically modified garbage of the capitalist system. Poisoned. 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime. We're being poisoned to death by the capitalist system. 30,000 pensioners die each year in this country alone because they can't afford to put the heating on. People are having to visit soup banks to feed themselves. This is a sick country run by psychopaths. I have nothing to fear because I've done nothing wrong. I stand with the one true God against these satanic devil worshippers. Bring whatever you have on. My fate, my kismet. Bring it on. My destiny. I welcome whatever's for me. Because what's for you will never go by you. God willing. So bring it on, Minty Boys. Bring it on, capitalist system. Yous fucking dumb schmucks. Yous aren't the people. Yous are deluded fucking psychopathic zombies. I stand shoulder to shoulder with my Fenian brothers and sisters, with my Muslim brothers and sisters, with my Jewish brothers and sisters, with the Protestant brothers and sisters who are on the right path and thinking the right way. No deluded zombie dumb schmucks. No, I don't stand with the deluded zombie dumb schmucks. We see through the lies and the falsehood. We can see through all the bullshit for the capitalist system, for the masters of the universe. You fucking bunch of crackpot cranks. You have stolen from us, and it's now us, the people, the real people, not the deluded people. We want to take back what yous have stolen. The devil's pish, the black gold, as you call it, the filthy oil, the water, the air, the electricity, all the utilities, everything has been stolen, has got to be returned to the people. The taxation of the people has to stop in the way it is. The killing of the people has to stop. The poison of the crops, the killing of 30 million life species in the next 50 years as a result of the capitalist system has to be stopped. Or our children, or our children's children, are going to be eaten the poison of the seeds that we're planting just now. How sick is the system when we can have seeds that do not replicate themselves? We force countries where people are starving to take these seeds, genetically modified garbage. Go fuck your capitalist system. Bush, Blair, Cameron, Obampot, shameless Obampot. Way and shove your head up your chuffs. We want our land returned back to us without it being destroyed by the capitalist fucked up system. Is that too much to ask as a crackpot tonight? Is that too much to ask? Am I tripping out my dial here? Am I wanting a fair society for nothing? Am I wanting my children's children to be able to have the same things that we have got just now that's been passed over to us? All the rights that were fought by the working man have been eroded, taken away. Are we going to sit back here and allow it to happen? Or are we going to mount a peaceful, radical fight back against these people? And it can be done peacefully through the social media, through the internet that we've now got. This is where the revolution can be done now. So tell 10 to tell 10, retweet to retweet. Vive la revolution, the people's revolution, where the 1% who are shafted the 99% find out that we are no the psychopaths, it's them. And we only want justice and equality in the best way. Sure, we'll make mistakes along the way, but we'll do it, hopefully God willing, with the best of intention and the best of heart, unlike these deluded schmucks who want to kill and destroy everything in their way to make their filthy lucre, to make their filthy profit. Go and fuck your prophets, your filthy lucre prophets. I believe in the true prophets of God, not the prophets of Satan. Your consumer society, shove it. I don't buy any of your bullshit. Don't watch your TV, don't look at your ads. No. Disengage from the capitalist system. Drop out, tune in to crackpots and drop out from these fuckwits capitalist system. Tune in, drop out. Don't expose yourself to it. Don't watch TV, mind-numbing, spirit-crushing game shows. A bunch of fucking half-wits knocking 7 shades of shite at each other. And you sit there taking it, waiting for the next advert to come and brainwash you. Go and buy this, go and buy that. Take part of the capitalist system and don't give a fuck about the people who are starving. 3 billion people living less than $1 a day. 3 billion people don't even have a pot to piss in. Not even fresh, clean water. It's a sick world where companies are worth more than countries. Countries are indebted, and yet companies sit there with trillions of pounds, high net worth individuals with trillions of pounds, yet people are starving. They're dying. My brothers or sisters are dying. I took offence and umbrage when I sat in March 2 years ago with my daughter whose mother came from Africa. Go home, the famine is over. Go home, the famine is over. The famine ain't fucking over. 50,000 people die each day through illnesses and diseases we can treat in this place, in this country. Yet places in Africa, Asia and South America, people are dying with illnesses. South African government went to court to force the international drugs companies to stop it, to stop the ban on producing its own retroviral drugs to give to the people who were suffering from AIDS. That's right, the capitalist drugs companies told or stopped, tried to put a block on the South African government making its own cheap drugs because it couldn't afford the high exorbitant costs of the capitalist companies. They had to take it to the highest international court and shame these motherfuckers and the drugs companies. Yeah, thousands died, eh? This is how sick this capitalist system is. Profit before people. And while they do it to other people and in faraway lands, yeah, sit back and watch your TV like fucking numpties. Because what do they say in Crime Watch? this time next year, it could be you. Well, is that only fools and horses? Am I getting my metaphors mixed up here? It doesn't matter. The point is, I did it for purpose, because it's going to be fucking us soon. How stupid are we if we think that these psychopathic bastards can go about and their death splurge against the rest of the planet, and we think, oh, we're safe here? People of Syria were sitting happy 5 years ago. People of Yugoslavia were all happy 30 years ago. How far are these bastards going to take it? The whole system's been out of control. They've lost control, I think, anyway. It's time for the people to exert our control and take back what's stolen in a peaceful way. Because they want people to react and respond in their violent, psychopathic manner. But you need to break that chain. And thankfully, with places like Twitter where we can get together, we can, I don't know, I'm tripping out my dial here. Somebody else take the forum and fucking move it on. I'm away to look after my wains, and I'm trying to look after their wains and their wains. What are you doing for your future generation? What are you doing for your progeny? What are you doing for your children's children? Because these bastards are fucking it up for everybody. Right, I'm off. You just sent me messages and you need to sit back and read all these fucking messages before I finish the show now. Right, I'm Oski here. Bolt your rockets. Right, last word from our sponsor, Sir Minty Boss. Hail, hail.
Hello?
Hello, who's that?
Hello?
Yes, you rang my number. Who's that? David Murray here.
Oh, hello David, I'm sorry to bother you. My name's Tommy Gold. I was phoning to congratulate you for the fine mess that Scottish football and Rangers has turned out to be. And with your...
Thanks, Tommy. It's good of you.
with your voodoo economics, sorry?
Where are you from, Tommy?
Glasgow Radio Online. I'm basically here to congratulate. Obviously, your voodoo economics has wreaked havoc on Scottish football, and that should the Queen obviously seek to put you in a stay of a big house, then and strip you of your title, then us Celtic fans will obviously look to, you know, for every fiver you can put down, we'll put a tenner down to send you in goodwill, obviously, David.
Tommy, I've got your number. I'll come and visit you, okay?
When would you like to do that, David? I mean, I can visit you and obviously...
When I come back, because you phoned my number 4 times, because all my calls are monitored. You phoned my phone 4 times in the last week, okay, Tommy?
Well, it was just to get your take on the situation for the football and what you've done to Scottish football, David. Obviously, you're a voodoo economic meister. I was wanting your take on it. I'm a proper journalist. I'm not here eating your succulent lamb. I'm here to ask you the good questions.
Thank you for your call. Don't give up the day job. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.
When are we going to meet then?
Interest free. We want our money. Interest free. We want to know. We want to know. Interest free money. We demand it. We want to know. Where do you want it?
Where's your money? Where's your money? Right. Good night. God bless. Speak to you soon.